Well, hey there, welcome to Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. I'm going to see if I can put in a sneak crop. Okay, well, I have this garden bed here, which is mostly done. I have planted peas back in October, the 1st of October, and though some of them are still doing quite well, this variety over here, a Sugar Ann pea, seemed to be nearing the end of its life cycle. We ate good peas. This is my favorite pea. I'm always going to grow this pea in the winter, but I've had to take them out now to make room for what I'm going to call a sneak crop. This is an unplanned new growing cycle. Normally I grow a fall crop, I grow a spring crop, I grow a summer crop, and I grow a fall crop, and that gives me just enough time to grow year round. But now that these are done a little bit earlier than I anticipated, I've got about 30 or 40 days before I need this bed for my spring garden. And so I think I can get in a real fast crop. And I asked you all, what do you think I could grow here that's not a radish? Radishes you could grow a quick crop real easy. And I found out that kohlrabi, that there's a variety that is sold by Haas Tools, and that kohlrabi matures in 35 days. So I'm going to see if I can get an additional crop in my garden this year. So we got to clear out all this chickweed and all this stuff here, and I might even flame weed, but we're going to get this soil ready and put in some seeds. It's a shame to pull out a plant like this, but sometimes the carnage is real in the garden. I've got some peas I think I can pick off of there. These legumes did really well for me this year, and I enjoyed growing them. There's some new young ones that seem to be coming up, but once again, we're going to transition to a sneak crop. So let's start pulling. I'm leaving the roots behind because peas are generally considered a nitrogen fixer, and those little nodules will be down there fixing nitrogen, or having been fixed, and that's good for the garden. Now, nitrogen fixers, once they produce fruit and flowers and start generating seed pods, generally the nitrogen's already being used up to generate the fruit. So I'm not sure what is left down in there in terms of nitrogen fixation, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to leave the roots down there anyway. I'm just pulling out by hand most of the big stuff. This chickweed. Chickweed actually can make a nice green manure. And so I've left a little of it tilled in on the upper surface of the soil down there. So just get out the big chunks. And then we'll rake up the rest of this stuff and tend to our soil by just kind of grading the surface with the rake. And that's a lot of chickweed in here. This is probably one of the reasons that these peas began to decline, is there's a lot of competition from this chickweed. Look at that. Lots of peas. I'll have to go through that. Now, these weeds that are in here are not typical of my summer garden or my spring garden. These are sort of fall specific weeds. And so once I get them under control here, I don't expect to have much trouble with them in the future. I'm going to use my stirrup hoe. And this is all I do to prepare this bed for a quick crop. With a quick maturing crop like this 35-day kohlrabi, the hope is that it will outpace the weeds, or at least keep up with the weeds, so we don't really have to worry too much. And so I've made the decision not to flame weed because I want to keep this lettuce right here. All this stuff, if I flame weed, will die. But that means that this garden bed will look a little more untidy as we head up into looking forward to spring gardening, which is in about a month and a half. This bed actually will have lots of peppers in it, and so I don't start my peppers as quickly as the rest of my spring garden. The chickweed's generally not going to come back right away. It's nearing the end of chickweed season around here. It's like all that stuff right there. That generally won't come back. But these grasses, if you leave the roots in there, yeah, they do tend to start sprouting up and coming back. So we'll just prepare this whole area. Go over it again with the stirrup hoe. It's a little warm and I'm sweating. It's also about 85 to 90% humidity, depending on which clouds are rolling over us right now. It's pretty, it's not a great day in the garden. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm just taking a leaf rake and one of these plastic things and going over and separating out some of this vegetation that I've left behind, some of these weeds, and piling them up. I'm going to take them to the compost bin. So this also leaves behind a very fine seed bed. You're really getting some tilth in that soil, and you're able to remove some more of that vegetation matter. Now again, the chickweed doesn't matter so much to me. It's a good green manure, but all that other stuff I want to kind of lift out with the rake and throw that in the compost pile. And you can see I'm shaking out some of the soil here because yeah, I worked hard for that soil. I want to keep it behind. But yeah, now we're ready. Smooth it all out. Let's make some furrows and plant some kohlrabi. My tool of choice for making furrows is just a garden stake. And the reason I'm doing that is the seeds we're going to plant say that they need to be planted 1/4 inch deep. So very similar to other brassicas. That's not very deep, and it's real easy to go too deep. And again, this is a kohlrabi from Haas Tools, and it matures in 35 days or so. Germination rate's 96%, they say, so yeah, we should be successful. Well, I'm going to make some furrows and honor the spacing between the rows that I find on the packet. So this is the tool. Real simple. You just drag it across the soil, and that's all you need to do. We're not trying to go deep. We're just trying to mark our spots. And by dragging it across the soil, I'm just making a very shallow little furrow there where I'll put my seeds in. And when we drop these seeds in, that's not very straight. This is gardening, not rocket science, so that doesn't bother me. But when you do these furrows like this, all you have to do is come back over them and just collapse the furrow over the seeds. So that should be good for what we're doing here. So what I'm doing here is just going in with the recommended spacing, and then as I get further down in my seed planting and my back starts hurting, I'm putting in a little more seed here and there. We'll thin later. So all you need to do is take your rake or any kind of garden tool like this fork and just lightly, very gently collapse the furrow over the seeds. Some of these seeds will be deeper, they'll find their way into crevices, and some will be less deep, but that's okay. It's so easy, so simple to sow seeds directly in the ground in this loose soil that we've prepared. So there we go, we're planted now. I'll haul the refuse off to the compost pile, and we're done. You know, I saw a vine borer moth today. I'm seeing butterflies out. Man, it's 75 degrees out here. It's hot. Well, comparatively speaking, but I'm covered in sweat. But hey, now we have a sneak crop. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm sneaking in another growing cycle in between my normal planting seasons. So it's in. I'm going to let the rain water it in because, well, it's going to rain today. And it has been raining today. That's why it's so humid. But I'm just going to leave them there and see how they come up. Holy moly, I kid you not, it's 80 degrees out here. No wonder I'm sweating so bad. Look at that. January, what, 25th? And it's 80 degrees. Perfect time to get these seeds going, huh? Wow, the lizards are out and about. I've got a green garden. Look at this kale. I've got cabbages the size of bowling balls, mustard greens growing in my pathways, carrots that I've been harvesting, Brussels sprouts. You can grow in zone 9 year round. You can grow 3 distinct crops. You can grow your spring garden beginning about March and have your plants ready to go, or buy your transplants. March the 1st is generally our start date, and you can grow for 3 or 4 months, and then come summer you can slowly transition to summer as your spring crops decline. And that summer crop usually will carry you in our area with heat tolerant varieties well into the October area, and that's my start date for my fall and winter garden. All that you see out here went in on October the 7th, the 6th and 7th, and we started direct from seeds. And that'll carry you back to March the 1st But you can see, sometimes you get an opportunity, you got to take it. We have another crop going, and that's 4 seasons. Wow, that's incredible. So yeah, I encourage you, try things like this. Be experimental, be adventurous, and yeah, it's a great way to garden. Hey, thank you for joining us on Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. I'm so humbled that so many of you like our videos. Share our videos if you find them useful. Please subscribe. Subscriptions really encourage us to keep on going and producing a lot of good content for you folks. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook if you'd like to. And happy gardening to you. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.